Welcome, everybody. Super excited to talk about cutting-edge experiences with Jeremy.
Let's do it.
I'm Brian Lange. I'm the co-founder of Future Commerce. We're a media company focused on the intersection of culture and commerce. And if you heard my co-founder this morning, time capsules. So today, this conversation is all about Milani Cosmetics. And Jeremy, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, and we'll jump in.
Sure. So thank you for having me. So I'm Jeremy Lowenstein, Chief Marketing Officer with Milani Cosmetics. I've been with the brand for 4 years. I've spent over 2 decades in the beauty space, working across all channels, so mass, prestige, D2C, Amazon, and across all categories in beauty.
So you've done a lot, Jeremy.
Touched a lot.
You've touched a lot of things. You've been around in the industry for a while. Talk to me about what's going on with Milani and what you've done recently that you think is actually groundbreaking.
Yeah, so Milani's been around for almost 25 years, and really we sit at the forefront really around merging prestige offerings. So our cosmetics are the same quality that you would get in a Sephora, and then really speaking to the multicultural consumer, so making sure we have a wide range of products to work across skin tones. I think for us, what we've been focusing on now is how do you continue to elevate and go deeper into the conversations with our consumers? Because I think obviously with a lot of technology happening right now that has allowed us to become more efficient on the back end, we want to spend more of our time getting closer and closer to the consumer.
Closer and closer to consumer, and you said using technology to help you do that. Backstage, you phrased it as humans versus machines.
Yes.
Talk to me a little bit about how you've been able to use technology, but also maybe how it's impeded your brand from actually connecting directly with customers.
Yeah, I don't see it as an impediment to connecting with the consumers. I see technology as enabling efficiencies within our back office. I'm going to call it our back office. So call it analysis of consumer conversation and sentiment, sales analysis, trend analysis. But what for us it's down has allowed my team, because I have marketing, creative, our product development team, and then our Amazon D2C team sitting under my purview. It frees up their time to actually get closer to the consumer, have those one-to-one interactions, because really our job as marketers is to understand the needs, the wants, and also be more future predictive of how do we get closer and touch the consumers.
Absolutely, yeah. The thing that we have fought for a long time in our industry is friction, right? Yeah. Trying to get rid of friction. But one thing that we may have lost in the process is actually some friction can be good.
Yeah.
And so actually stopping your customer and saying, hold on, maybe you want to think about this.
Yeah.
But doing that with a human, I'd say you've done a really good job of building a strategy both online and in store.
Yeah.
You're probably one of the most omni-channel cosmetic companies out there.
Yeah.
Why did you pursue this as full as you did?
Sure. There are very few of us in the mass color cosmetic space who are truly omni-channel. Most brands sometimes choose to only play in the brick and mortar space, or they go to the Amazon D2C space. For me, it was important that we are everywhere where the consumer is. So we want to make sure that they are being educated through our website on the depth of our products, around the offerings that we have, the ingredients and the storytelling, but then also give them that a similar experience in store. By having omni-channel, we don't know anymore where they're going to make that purchase decision. They may make that purchase decision while they're out shopping for groceries at Walmart, but they also may make that purchase decision after seeing a piece of content on TikTok, and they want to either go to our TikTok shop, or they choose to go to milanicosmetics.com and purchase, or they go to Amazon.
Totally, yeah. I think a lot of brands treat digital and physical like severance. Like, you've got your innie and your outie. I don't know if anyone else has watched the show yet. But it's like one is completely forgot about what the other has done.
Yeah, no, I think for us, we're obviously a smaller team internally with Milani, but it allows us to have those real conversations. Again, what's happening at our brick and mortar partners, and what are we doing online? How do they coexist together and make the overall experience for the consumer better and smarter?
Totally, yeah. Another thing I think is so important about getting your shoppers in store and having an experience that they can touch and feel and interact with is it engages all their senses. And so much is communicated through our other senses other than just our eyes. In fact, Marshall McLuhan, the famous media theorist, talks about how actually all of writing and language and so on is all an extension of our eyes.
Yes.
and how because of that, we've sort of centered all of our like experiences with each other around visual experiences. But what about smell? What about sound? What about all these other things that actually communicate things to us?
Yeah.
And so talk to me about how you've been able to sort of revolutionize some of those things in your stores.
Yeah, I don't know if it's about revolutionize, but again, I think beauty as a whole is a playground. That's how we describe that experience. It's a very tactile category.
Yes.
So yes, you get to see the shades, but you also want to touch the formulas.
Yes.
The challenge or that friction that exists between sort of the traditional prestige and mass channels are in a prestige channel like a Sephora, you have testers. Consumers can go in, play with the formulas, touch them, have that experience. The mass environment isn't like that. There's more doors, over 25,000 of them.
Yep.
So everything stays within their package, no testers, so you can't really touch and feel the product. So I actually look at our creator community, our influencer community, as take those other senses and are able to bring them to life through content.
Yes.
Because they're actually either buying the product themselves, we're partnering with them, and they are creating content on the brand's behalf and explaining that experience to our consumers. So that way when they go in store, they're actually able to take that knowledge, and then now they have the site piece of it. They can see the shade strips that are in there, they see the packages, and they know what they've heard based off of a trusted sort of advisor for them.
Totally. It's like actually your influencers are your proxy for your brand.
Correct.
And yesterday, my co-founder, Philip, interviewed the CMO of Klaviyo and talked about how Dunbar's number is this idea that you can only have 150 relationships in your life. And maybe we're building technology that can help us expand past that.
Sure.
But really, you have to develop relationships with people, and having a proxy or amalgamations or archetypes to help be able to connect with those larger groups is essential today.
Yeah, I think the relationships, but also the trust.
Yes.
So I think, I was actually here last year talking about the creator universe, and there are so many out there. At the end of the day, creators are just consumers.
Totally.
And why they become important is because they have that sort of almost that one-to-one relatability. Consumers want to be able to see themselves, we always say in marketing, they want to see themselves in the marketing materials. Creators are that extension then. They are not the brand, but they are the consumer. So that way, that relationship then exists. You're gonna go find your trusted creator community and listen to them on their opinions on the product and the performance, and then make your own decision. It's an informed decision to another level.
This is starting to sound like B2B, actually.
A little bit.
Yeah, like you have all your dealers, and those dealers represent your brands, and they're usually independent, and you've got a whole strategy for how you address them. Like maybe there's actually a lot to learn from B2B right now for consumer. I wrote a whole article.
Where the TikTok shop has that's affiliate selling.
100%.
There's a lot of them, but that's affiliate selling.
I think this also allows you to have better relationships with your end customer.
Yes.
Because they're latching on to people that represent your brand, and they're able to connect with them at a deeper level and like start to build their own stories around it.
But it also allows us to listen to them and take insights from those conversations and those sort of pockets of communities and say, how do we, as the brand now, continue to foster those relationships, go deeper with them, and then create, whether it's content that they're looking for or more education, or new products that will help service their needs.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's funny, when we first started, it was actually pretty hard for people to kind of provide the kind of quality content around a brand that we have now. And actually, yesterday, 2 days ago, my friend Ingrid, who's the CMO over at Higher Dose, she said early on, she used to call UGC LGC, loser-generated content, because it was so bad. I'm stealing her joke. But tools have gotten so much better for consumers to be able to create maybe even better content about your brand than you do.
Yeah, I think when you speak to these creators, the first thing they'll actually tell you back to the brand is, we aren't here to build your brand. They're actually building their own brand.
Right.
Because that's their community. They are, like you said, almost proxies. They're educators for us. I know TikTok talks about edutainment all the time. And for us as marketers, especially in the product space, we want to make sure that we are educating our consumers in the best way and at the right time based on their purchase journey. They may not know about the brand, or they are actually so familiar with Milani that at the end of the day, we have a new product, they're gonna go to their favorite creator and see if they've tested.
Yes.
We just launched a new skin tint stick. it's sort of a hybrid of a foundation and a skin tint. What does that mean? You can't go in store and touch it, so they're going to go find their favorite creator who may have picked up the product, or we may have partnered with to send them product, and they want to hear about it. It's that education, find the right skin, the shade for their skin tone. So it's smarter content.
Smarter content, it's higher quality, and it's also, there's a lot more of it. And in fact, I think another thing that's really interesting is influencers and super fans of your brand are providing you feedback at a faster rate than ever before. How is this working its way back into what is probably a pretty long product creation cycle?
Yeah. I think that's where this, the advent of technology and helping us sort of unload some of the day-to-day stuff so we can actually go deeper with those conversations and hear where there are opportunities. Because the product development process for makeup, skincare, is typically 12 to 24 months.
It's long.
Because it's formulas. We want to make sure that it's new, it's innovative, it works on skin. What are we hearing? So there's a lot of conversations. It's not a new conversation, but skinification. What does that mean? What ingredients are important? How are skin types evolving? Who's your consumer at the end of the day that you're trying to service? And then how do you then incorporate that into a new product? And then how are you going back out once the product is launching and educating them? And sometimes that allows us to go back to even to the source and say, hey, we heard you, now create content on behalf of this product that was essentially inspired by conversations you were having.
That's unbelievable. So actually,
circle.
In some ways, actually more than ever, you're looking to your customers and influencers to help drive the brand forward. Product strategy, marketing strategy, and
while still remaining true to your brand.
And I think that's the question I have for you.
That is the piece that is really, I believe, critical at this juncture. As barriers to entry in the beauty space are quite low, anyone can launch a brand. How do you maintain a brand long term? So knowing who you are, what your DNA is, what you stand for, how do you protect that sort of unique messaging and proposition and try not to be everything to everyone? Because that's impossible.
I think you end up becoming really bland and boring if you try to be everything to everyone.
Correct.
You have to have a distinct story, but the people can play off and evolve and grow with you.
Stay in your lane and let them grow with you.
Evolutionary identity.
You may not appeal to everybody, and that's okay.
Totally.
Because there are other brands for those people.
That's right. And that means you don't necessarily have to have unlimited growth. You can focus on your market and draw people in.
What's your total addressable market?
Right, exactly. We haven't brought up, we're talking about cutting edge experiences. We talked about human versus machine. You talked about using technology to enable getting through things faster so you can focus on the things you really want to do. All of this is leading me to think about AI and the power that it has within your org, but also within your influencers and that way to be able to create things. How have you been leveraging it to go to market?
Sure. I think, obviously AI is the buzzword that everyone wants to talk about. What is your AI roadmap?
I think everyone here is tired of it, actually.
I would second that. I think there are, again, I look at it as tools to enhance it and sort of make our marketing better, smarter, and more efficient. And I'll give two different examples of piece of technology that's out there. One, which is not new, is virtual reality for makeup try-on. Again, I go back to this concept of what it's like to shop the category in a mass environment. There are no testers. You can't try the product. So virtual try-on, 10, 15 years old at this point, kind of clunky when it started. It has become leaps and bounds.
Totally.
And AI has helped that as cameras have become smarter. It understands skin tone, skin type, and then eye shape, brow shape, lip shape. So as you were trying on makeup and the shades become realer, it gives you a better experience. Part of the AI piece of that is also data. How do we learn? It's not about understanding who you are, the individual. It's an aggregate who's most often trying on our product. What are we missing from them? We can start probing through questions and take that information and say, okay, how do we service them better? That's one piece. The other piece is community management, and I'm seeing this all the time now. Part of this engagement with our consumers, there's so much conversation out there. So how do we use AI to do smarter listening to allow us to insert ourselves as the brand when we are responding to be in the right conversations and make them meaningful, and then take all those learnings back and synthesize that information that really are creating new insights for us. That's where AI is helping us.
That is so smart. I've seen recently some like reviews are getting like summarized by AI, which is really helpful because
I can see as soon as you launch a product and there's 200 reviews of our product out there, please read all of these, tell me what are the trends, what's good, what's bad, what's ugly, what do we need to fix, or where are the gaps in information?
Yes.
Hey, these are the most often asked questions or things that are being misunderstood. Great, I can pivot very quickly, create a new piece of content, push it right back out there to hopefully satisfy that need.
That's so cool. And actually feeding that back into any like AI you have, that like recently I've seen like product question AI built directly into the product details page, and it's trained on data just from the product set, but
I'm seeing
also
that with big retailers now starting to do that. Like, you go into like a Sephora, an Ulta, or an Amazon, it has to help learn who you are, what you're looking for. And as you're asking it questions, it should start showing up product that is more meaningful for you.
That's so cool.
So like I said, you have this endless shelf of product. How do you know what to pick anymore?
Right. But to bring that all back, like I've never thought about it applied towards like amalgamating the like product feedback you've received and like using that as essentially a report. I love that idea.
We used to do it manually. We used to literally take all of it, put it into an Excel spreadsheet. I remember 15 years ago, you sit there manually count how many comments you had that were positive, negative, neutral, highlighting keywords and trying to figure. We can do that much faster. That allows us then to be more reactive to create, like I said, either future new developments in product or in content to help educate the consumer to make purchase decisions.
That's like tens of or hundreds of hours saved.
Yes.
That's crazy. Okay, this to me says you can actually scale the brand a lot further and a lot faster without adding more people.
Disagree, but yes.
Okay. Oh, okay. No. Hey, tell me why.
Look, I think automation helps, but you can't replace all the people. The people there, especially in marketing and creative, AI can help sort of do some thought starters, but it doesn't mean it actually replaces the humanity. Again, there is a human touch. There is understanding and knowing your consumer, the brand tone of voice. Let AI sort of enable the process. It doesn't replace the humans, but we're going to need people to do other things.
For sure. I totally agree with that. I think it's like a lot of the repetitive stuff. There's another theorist named Norbert Wiener who was considered the father of cybernetics, and he had a theory about how humans and machines interact. He said that some interactions should be human to human.
Yes.
Some interactions should be human to machine. And some interactions should be machine to machine. And it's our job to figure out how to categorize what those things are, and then find our way to get to like whatever the task is, push it back into the bucket it belongs. And we've done a really bad job of that over the last 50 years. We have actually been doing a lot of things as humans that should be done by machines for machines. And so now we can focus on the things that actually matter and that we care about. We're almost out of time. Looking out 18, 24 months from now, what is the one thing that you're like, I really have to do this?
God, that is a loaded question. It's interesting because on the product development side, we are focused on 18 to 24 months out. I think for me, what I continue to talk to my team about, and you talk to consumers, is just continuing that human engagement in person. I think there has been a deluge of online content, and I think sometimes consumers are looking to touch and feel and experience the brand. So we're sort of going backwards a little bit to be able to go forwards. So how do we disconnect from the phone or whatever screen you're on and also bring the brand to life so you can experience it, emotionally engage with that consumer in a different environment? I think that's where we're going to continue to go and lean in to build those more authentic relationships.
Love it. I think that's a great place to leave it, authentic relationships. Thank you so much, Jeremy. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I'm looking forward to many more conversations.